Dude, if we do have the record player,
Yeah.
at least we're not like Robert Johnson, where it's like, dude, that's what they use. That's all they used to have, dude. And they'd be like, yo, dude, check out the stereo I just got. Hold on, let's put it on. Do you think they this is something that I've been trying to work on stage, but I don't know if it's funny yet. Do you think they pre-gamed for concerts back in the day the way that we pre-gamed? They're like, yo, fucking Beethoven dropping the ninth. I'm getting fucked up tonight. Yo. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like tailgates and shit with the horses.
Yeah.
I got like selling things in the
I'm selling croquet so I can get to the next venue because I'm trying to see motherfucking. I'm trying to think of somebody old school. God damn it! This is where my brain.
Tchaikovsky.
Oh, Tchaikovsky is at the Palladium tonight. I'm bringing this bitch. I don't think she even likes the motherfucking Tchaikovsky. I'm just trying to get in her pantaloons. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get in her pantaloons, baby.
Pantaloons.
Dude, come back in 3 weeks because on stage, that is going to kill, dude. That's hilarious. Do you pregame before concerts or do you go to a lot of concerts? I'm assuming you do. I mean, you live in LA most of your life, right?
Yeah, I love in fact, there's a place actually called Venice West just down the street from my house. And the Wailers played there the other day. And obviously it's not Bob Marley in the Wailers.
It's not? Wait, what happened? Is he okay? What happened to Bob?
But man, they sound pretty amazing. It's actually awesome. It was really cool to see.
I can imagine, man. I mean,
apparently, I don't remember, but my first ever concert was Bob Marley.
Actually, Bob Marley.
Yeah. When I was 1 or something,
dude.
My dad took me 1 or 2,
dude. And I have a very similar thing. My first like being out into the world, anything was going to see Bill Cosby at the Capitol Center. I swear to God, dude. Bill Cosby. This is pre, you know. This is back when you could go see Bill.
Oh no. My mom wrote for the Bill Cosby show. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she did. This was also all that stuff.
I'm working up with them now, dude. We're gonna relaunch his career. I do that all the time when I'm like, if I ever host a show at like when I do it at the Comedy Store, my show, or I do it at the Comedy Cellar, which I host there randomly, but mostly at my show at the Comedy Store because we'll always have like drop-ins. So we'll have like Burr will be on the lineup, and some months he'd not be able to tell me until the last minute, and so I don't have a time to add him to the flyer. And then it's kind of like, you know, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the best city in the world, the best comedy club. You never know who's going to come by. And then I'm like, Bill Burr, and the crowd goes nuts. And then sometimes you have another person, right? Like maybe Leslie Jones or whatever. But when I get those doubles, I'm like, guys, you aren't going to believe this. And everybody's like, we got another drop in. Ladies and gentlemen, from Philadelphia, Bill Cosby. And people's reactions are like, what? Because you have that moment where you're like, oh my God, really? And then
could it really?
I mean, what do we do? Do we clap?
You're right.
And I say to him, I go, listen, I was like, I mean, he's obviously he's not coming out. It's just some other motherfucker. But like, truth be told, if he came out, you'd be like, all right, Bill Cosby. Okay. What do you got to say? And then he's like, he does all like, you know, like, I'm a free dude. I'm not none of that shit. I'm not doing a Bill Cosby. This is already off the tracks. Where are you in LA? Are you West Side, East Side? Like, cause
I'm West Side. I'm in Venice. Yeah. Actually, during so I'm from West Hollywood. Mm-hmm. I was born there at Cedars-Sinai. No, during COVID, it was so boring. There was nothing going on. It was like everyone was quarantined, but there was no traffic. So I would just rip down to the beach all the time. And my buddy has bikes down here, so we just bike around. There's people everywhere. It was like normal here.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm gonna get an Airbnb. I'm gonna just chill here for a minute. And once I did, I was like, I'm never going back. Venice is great.
Venice is amazing. Santa Monica is amazing. The West Side is amazing. When you live over there, when you live in Los Feliz or Silver Lake, and you're like, let's go to the beach, and you're like, all right, you got 3.5 hours possibly to get there, and maybe get back will take 5 or 6 hours. You'll get back 4 days later. Like, that's the thing. Is like the truth of Los Angeles is literally it's either 20 minutes to get anywhere or it's 2.5 hours. It's your whole day. If you're trying to get to the beach, and I mean, as someone in your position, yes, move to fucking Venice. But like, I always find when I see these people that just moved to Los Angeles and they're like, I'm going to be an actor and I'm going to do this. And I'm like, most of your auditions are in Hollywood and now you live in Marina Del Rey. Like, it's going to like, wait,
right.
Just wait to move to the beach. Trust me. Like,
you're going to spend more on gas money than you make, you know.
But if you
commercials,
I mean, I know we're on here to promote something, and I'm super excited to talk about it because you're working with, obviously, in my opinion, the best third act of any person in their career, Mr. Nicolas Cage. I have watched the movie Long Legs 1,000 times on Delta flights. I just watched it like last night again because I've watched it so much that I can fall asleep to it. Like, I just, and it's like, you've had such a crazy career. Because I remember when you got Witness, because I think we're about the same age. So I remember the big deal of that. And it's like to finally, to do something with in the Marvel superhero universe, but also like you're playing a bad guy in this, right?
Yeah. It was very, very cool. I mean, Nick is obviously a legend. He's
legend.
I used to obsessively watch Wild at Heart, which is a weird one, but he's just, I mean, I've always been a massive fan. So to get to do this and also to do a superhero thing, but that's really like noir, like authentically noir, which is such an interesting vibe. And one of those things that when you're a kid, you study noir films and you get into all that. It was cool to get to do both, with Nick Cage.
Well, that's what's
something different.
Yeah, very different. And I think that's kind of like when they talk about doing like a superhero thing, or it's like, it's always to like actors like on your caliber. It's like, all right, well, be careful, man. It's like, you got to choose the right fucking thing. And you literally chose, I love that you mentioned the noir of the 40s. Cause there was like, that was like the Maltese Falcon, all of those Bogart movies, all of that stuff, that my parents grew up on after post-war World War II, when it was like, people were scared. Like it was such a vibe. And for right now, what's going on in the world, all the flashy, beautiful, and I'm not shitting on Marvel or DC or anything like that when I say this, but there's something more about what's going on, the vibe of the world right now, where Spider Noir, like noir makes very much sense in this fucking 2026 than it would if it was like 2014. Do you know what I mean?
It really does. And it's sort of like a lost thing. Like, I would say probably young people don't really know much about noir. In the 70s and 80s, when you're growing up, you learn about the history of film and all that stuff. But lately it's sort of more about what's on your iPhone,
Yeah. Oh, totally.
So it's cool that there's a real project that people can watch in black and white, and it looks totally authentic. And really get that vibe and connect to that again. I'm gonna get interested in it.
Totally. I'm gonna give a shout out to my buddy Kevin Clancy from Barstool. He KFC. He had a huge podcast. He was shouting you guys out so hard about how great the series was. Where he was just, and he's like, do not watch this shit in color. If you watch it in color, you're a fucking poser. Watch it in black and white. Like it's any chance that we get to really, when something's made for black and white, like that's the way it needs to be seen. Just like if you're going to see any movie and they're like, we got to go see One Battle After Another in VistaVision, fucking go see it in the format that the dude made it in, because that's the whole point. He wants you to experience it that way. You know what 100%. I mean?
100%. Yeah, that's how we filmed it. Like, on set, you got a monitor that you go back and watch playback, see how you did or whatever, see if you need to do it again. And that was all in black and white. Everything was black and white. So that was definitely the attention behind it.
All right, I got to ask this because I love that you mentioned Wild at Heart. And dude, I'm a Nick Cage purist as far as like I love third acts, man. I love when people can do shit that's like, and I'm gonna even say this to you too, because it's like, now this is a whole different thing. Even though you did play kind of a villain in Brick, like you were the henchman in that, which is so rad, because it's like, oh fuck, these are some questions I should ask later. But I was just like working with fucking working with homeboy Ryan. I used to work out with him at a CrossFit gym.
Really?
Yeah, dude, he was getting into it, dude. I mean, he wasn't in class with us, but I would always like, because I knew who he was, because I'm like a huge film buff, and he was also with that other dude he always puts in all of his movies. He's been in Looper.
Oh yeah, Joe Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, no. He's one of a smaller character, but I think he's one of the bad guys too in Looper. It's like, I feel like what you guys are doing with this show is very similar to what was going on with Brick too, where it's like you're working like with a whole different like genre, also basically in the same world, that noir mystery thing.
Yeah, that was noir too, and it's true. Actually, this character's, I mean, it's not the same character, but there's similarities for sure to my character in Brick. Yeah, Ryan at the time, I mean, that was his first film.
I know.
So he had never. I didn't know who he was, except he was so cool when we met. You know, he was telling me about what he was expecting from the role, and he showed me he had the costume already. So he like showed me the cane and the costume and the whole thing, and it was just a really cool experience. We did that in like 2-3 weeks, something like that, like really quick, and it was just awesome.
You would have thought Hollywood would realize, like, you don't need the big blockbusters, man. Like, give the money to these young, and it's kind of, I think it's really starting to show right now with these horror movies that are making a lot of bread, and they're not to shit on any large studios, but I say this, they're doing better than some of the other things that, you know, that you'd expect, these summer tent poles. And it's like, bro, give these YouTube creators, like, I mean, Ryan's a fucking genius the way that his brain is, you know, give them $1 million, give them $2 million, and let them make the movies and we'll have that resurgence that we had in the 70s with New Hollywood, and we had in the 90s with Tarantino and Soderbergh and all of it. It's really cool. I mean, you're really with Brick, you know, you were literally right there at the beginning with a zero budget. And then suddenly you see where he's gone on to do. He's good fucking Star Wars, for Christ's sake.
I couldn't agree more. I've always thought the same thing. I mean, these movies, they make them for $200 million. Like you could make 100 movies.
Yeah.
Or 200 movies.
Yeah, you can make so much, dude. And
one of them would make a lot of money, you know.
They were talking about making the Blair Witch again. We're going to remake the Blair Witch. You could, no, dude. The reason it worked is because we all thought it was real for like 2 months. Right. Everybody thought it was real. It looked like shit. We all flocked to the movie theater because there was no internet to talk about, you know, if it's real or not. If there was internet, it had like one porn site and that was it, you know? So that was the whole point of Blair Witch. If you're going to remake it, it's just going to fuck it up. And that's why I'm saying it's like, if you're going to do something like Spider-Man and you're going to try to make a series about it, if they just did the series, cool. By doing this format, it really, brings in a whole new fan base. It brings in a more adult fan base because we're the motherfuckers with the money. You know what I mean? And we're the ones that want to support this, and we're the ones that are going to pay the money to watch the show. It's crazy. And I mean, it's to bring someone like Nicolas Cage on. That's what I was saying about his third act is so, it's just, I love, like you mentioned, Wild at Heart. I love Raising Arizona. I love all the movies of the crazy Nick. Yeah. And then you have the middle shit where it's like, all right, it's like, you know, he's doing like, I always say it's like, all right, this is a movie where Nick Cage just wants to buy a boat, right? This is his buy a boat movie. But now his like third act is my favorite act. I love the movies starting with Mandy, starting with fucking what was the other one? Pig. Which Pig is like, if you don't cry during Pig, you are dead inside. And then like I said, Long Legs, and now to do something like that, and to be that kind of an actor, and to, you know, to see how he can, you know, dude, I just watched Face Off in a hotel room in Idaho last week. Have you had any, like, what's your most Nick Cage moment, like either on set, during a shoot, whatever it is, where it's just like, oh man, like I'm getting cherry Nick Cage right now?
Well, you know, actually, there was a moment where I couldn't remember my line, and it was a small thing. I was just like, you know, I just sort of stopped, and he's like, da 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 da. He just told it to me. You know, usually you yell for like, can I have my line?
Yeah.
But in this case, he was just like, he looked at me in that Nick Cage way, and he's like,
dude,
da-da-da-da-da.
that's so lucky.
It was pretty cool.
That's so fucking
cool.
rad,
I'm like,
dude.
wow, he is on it. He's like definitely more on it than I am.
I bet you he knows a whole goddamn script, dude. I bet you the way that he is, it's like I've have backgrounds on every person's character. I've created a world. If you need anything, if you need a background on your character, you're like, I'm just a stand-in. Like, you know, I'm playing a janitor in the background. I know, but I developed a whole thing for
he goes for it in a way that I haven't seen many actors before. Like, he really is in it in a different way, and it's exciting to watch. I actually I just did a movie with him called Fortitude that's not out yet, but same thing. He's just like making choices, like really definite choices.
Yeah.
Which is rare.
No, it is. Actually, in this day and age, like he's a true talent, and it makes me just so happy to see the shit he gets to make now, and how much fun that must be working with him. And I mean, you've had an incredible career, and you know, for you, it's like, dude, you know, to come on here with doing Hank Williams. And speaking of like Spider Noir, it just it really almost works hand in hand with the amount of research and breakdown that I came up with to try to compare. It's like, how do you find a fucking segue between Spider Noir and then Hank Williams' career?
Hank Williams.
But I got it. I think I've got it, because I've had a Nick Cage approach, or I've got the Hank Williams, and I think it's Spider Noir lives in a world of like shadows and crime and paranoia, where Hank songs are full of loneliness, regret, people making bad decisions. Do you think audiences secretly enjoy dark stories because they make us feel less alone? Like, why do you think like they were drawn to Spider Noir? Why do you think people are drawn to Hank Williams? And not mentioning country music at all, just the themes.
I mean, I think it's something that everyone can relate to at different moments in their life. You know, that longing feels like longing to me is a massive theme for Hank Williams. It's like those songs where he's the mansion on the hill, you know that one, like where he's like the girl's up in this mansion and the trees are still, and there's a light on, the girl in the hill, and he's just wishing he could be there, and you feel it. So it's like this palpable feeling of wishing for something, you know, and I think everybody can relate to that. And he creates these kind of dynamic characters, you know. They're not just a one note people at all. They're kind of they have like these different sides to them, which is very cool. What's that one song I was actually trying to remember?
There's so many. We had 40. We had 40 songs. This is a weird thing. This is like where we have a lot of arguments on the podcast. Is like, why didn't they just pick one singular record by Hank, or why did they? Because we've had this many times with some of the, like Bob Marley. We have Bob Marley coming up, but we've also done some of his individual records. So you get to a place where you're like, should the greatest hits be on the 500 greatest albums list? And I think for what, you know, if this is what's going to be the thing that we talk about, like it makes sense for a certain artist like this, because I don't think he pops up anymore down the list, and this is the first time we've had him. And it's just like, you know, technically a greatest hits record is not, in my opinion, because this is like, it's picking a greatest hits record is like, almost feels like Rolling Stone magazine couldn't commit. Do you know what I mean? It's like musical speed dating, where they're like, all right, like this is a shortcut. We'll get, but also this record is like the Old Testament of country music. So that's kind of why this is, I understand, because it's 40 songs recorded by a man who only had about 6 years of a major success before he died at 29. And that's not even a career. That is a speed run. And
right?
And yeah,
crazy.
It's insane. And somehow he managed to invent modern country music through, you know, heartbreak songs, and he's singer-songwriter confessionals, and half the songs your uncle listens to while like starting a lawnmower. You know what I'm saying? It's very like, it's just, this is the country that I feel all the people that hate country now, or hate the 90s or early 2000s country, the cheeseball country. I'm not saying now because I'm friends with a lot of those guys, but I'm talking about like, you know, country girl, shake it for me. Like this shit, you're like, all right, dude, this wasn't what it was about. This This shit right here, what he does is, in my opinion, it is as real. Like, I don't know if this would be considered outlaw country, but this, if you listen to the lyrics and how real about the characters and the feelings and the shit that he's going through, it's like listening to like NWA or like punk rock, just with a slide guitar. You know what I'm saying?
I thought the same thing. And he also kind of started, like, he was the beginning of, he was kind of like the bridge to rock and roll from country.
Yeah.
You know, he like the Dylans and all those kind of Johnny Cash. And he kind of was the first of those characters,
Mm-hmm.
And I just, he's phenomenal. His songwriting, he puts you in a place. And by the way, this record it came out in like the 70s.
78, 25 years after his death. This is considered this is why it's on the list. Most critics find this the most definitive Hank Williams collection. And it really is. I mean, it goes right from the beginning all the way up until the end. It's the best-selling album associated with his whole career.
Right.
And this is like, I mean, every major artist in country and songwriting, Johnny Cash, George Jones, Willie Nelson, they owe something to these recordings. It's, how did you 100%. Find I mean, because you're a California kid, man. I'm assuming, we're roughly the same age. I would have thought you'd be like hip hop, and I know you probably are, you know what I mean? But it's like also like fucking hair metal, like Guns N' Roses. I would have assumed living in West Hollywood, dude. I always looked up to you kids because I grew up in bumfuck middle of nowhere outside of DC, Maryland, and it was like, oh man, the kids in New York. Like, I watched the movie Kids and was jealous of like, I want that. But AIDS, no, but all the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we did have Dre and Snoop and everybody out here and Tupac, which was cool.
Yeah.
No, but I got into music when I was a kid, when I was like 4 years old.
Same.
It's the first time I heard a song, and it was playing in the the footwell of my dad's car. I went down into the speaker. I was like, what is this? I looked back up at my dad. What is this? It's the first time I remembered like noticing a song, and it was a Beatles song. And he's like, that's the Beatles. That's the best band in the world. And I was like, the Beatles. Then I just started getting obsessed, and he got me each cassette in sequential order. So I just would wear one out, and then he'd get me the next album. And so I spent a good 5 years just really listening to them only. And Michael Jackson was out at the time, and I was like, whatever, Michael Jackson. All my friends in school liked everything else.
We all, dude, first of all, fuck off. Everybody liked Michael Jackson, dude. Everybody liked even if you think you didn't, you can sit here. We all, dude, every person on earth loved Michael. We all
totally.
We watched the goddamn music video. Dude, we watched the making of the music video and loved that shit. So
no, I mean, obviously Michael Jackson, but I'm just saying I was so obsessed that I couldn't even hear anything else. You know what I mean? But
no, I get that.
Then I did get into Michael and everybody else, but my taste in music has always been a little bit different. And I have a friend who's really, really into those old, like really old, like the Mills Brothers, the Ink Spots.
Me too. I love that shit, dude. I love. The older I've gotten, it is people like, because that's my dad. Like you were saying, like your dad schooled you on the Beatles. My dad was jazz vocal groups, Four Freshmen. He loved like, the Everly Brothers, the Righteous Brothers, any of the people where their voices just were like that beautiful harmony, that beautiful sound. Yeah. And the Beatles had that too with theirs, and the Beach Boys and so on and so forth. But yeah, dude, it's Ink Spots. So yeah, so go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, no, so basically he's into also those old blues guys, the Delta blues, like Son House and Robert Johnson, all the blind ones, blind Willie McTell, blind Lemon Jefferson.
I know, isn't that fucked up? That fucking they make your ailment first. It's like, give it up for diabetic Tony Johnson, y'all. Coming up, we got eczema, Tina McGee, y'all. She got that eczema.
Apparently, I mean, I'm not sure if this is totally true, but apparently it was prohibition, so they couldn't get alcohol, and they would drink methanol So a lot of these guys, and which like destroys your optic nerve. So a lot of these guys actually went blind from that, which I'm not sure if that's like a,
no, isn't it even in The Master, right? Like Paul Thomas Anderson got that character and he's drinking that shit from like the subs or whatever, the airplane. So
yeah, exactly.
That shit must have ruled.
So that got my friend who loves all that music. He sent me this song. He sent me Ramblin' Man. And he's like, yo, this song is so cool. Listen to it. And so I listened to it. And I'm like, wow, it really is. It like has this vibe and it tells this story and it puts you in this world. And it's also something that I kind of related to, you know, traveling all the time as a kid. When I was an actor, as a younger guy, you know, you're going off to make a movie here or there for 3 months. You're just sort of a nomad. And, so it just kind of, I related to it. I'm like, it's so old sounding, right? It's like, and yodely. I'm like, I feel like I could, you know, do something with this, make it more modern or whatever.
Oh, you killed it.
So that's when I got really into Hank Williams.
I love that. And also, like, you've covered that song too. We're going to play it at the end of the episode. Like, you sound great, man. Like, I'm not just kissing your ass because you're on the podcast. Like, I didn't know that was you. And it's like, so we're gonna play it at the end, but he covers the Ramblin' Man. And yeah, dude, I mean, that's so badass that it's like the second you heard that it kind of like stopped you in the tracks of like you could identify with it. And I mean, that's what sometimes when music feels like it's made for you. I mean, you know, I always
100%.
say,
I mean, just
okay, computer. I always talk about it was the right place at the right time. It hit me and it made me drop out of college, go to Europe. Oh, dude, there's a lot of similarities between you and Hank Williams that I've concocted, and maybe they're going to be stretches, but it's tough to do like what you'd usually go through. We'll break down some of the songs, but it's like I really, you know, when you have that many, it's like you can only focus on so much, and it's like to go over a whole guy's career because that's what we're getting with this. It's pretty. You guys have a very, very, very similar. You'll see. Well, like, hold on. So I got like
cool.
You both started young.
Wait. So
go ahead.
We're not gonna go every single song.
We can go over a few. We can. I mean, dude, I got nothing to do.
Joking.
I got nothing to do until the Knicks game tonight, bro. So I got nothing. I just got to prep for Jason Mraz, James Taylor, and besides that, I'm good to go. No, I mean, there's too much. Like my old writer Morty, who God bless his soul, I love him to death. Like, dude, he would be like, and we used to go song to song and I'd have a question about everything. But when you get these like huge career retrospectives, it's like, because by the way, not to call out Hank, some of these songs are exactly the same. Like literally, like where's the fucking lineup for this? Because like the opening song, goddamn, Alex, if you can get these songs ready.
Opening song.
Moving on over.
Yeah, moving on over.
Moving on over. I think that. Oh God damn it! What was the?
By the way, I think that's like a bridge to rock and roll. That song.
Sure.
I mean that melody. I feel like who's the guy who Kim come in last night at half past 10.
It's Bill. Whatever the fuck his name is. Rock around the clock.
The clock tonight.
Bill, I'm close. It's God damn it. Now I gotta fucking look it up. No, Bill, Bill Hicks. No, Bill Murray. Bill Haley.
Bill Haley.
Bill Haley in the comics. Yeah, it's Bill Haley in the comics. Yes.
But I mean, that melody is the exact same melody. If it was nowadays, I feel like there'd be a little lawsuit going on.
Very much. You
know, because that's really like kind of a direct bridge to rock and roll.
This was made so long ago there weren't lawyers. This is pre-litigious. Man, the guy just stole my whole thing. It's like, I can't help you, dude. We haven't figured this whole America shit out yet. We're still working on it. No, this is moving on over, and there's another song. Fuck, man, I wish I would have wrote it down because I was listening to this on a car ride. I actually was in I flew out at DFW. But I had to do a show in Tyler, Texas this weekend. And it was just so like, I had like 2 hours to get to the airport from the morning. And so I'd listen to the whole record on the way up. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like move it on over and play a little bit of Moving On Over, Alex. I want to just hear the the fucking, while you play that, I want to see if I can find the song. It's literally the exact same song.
Came in last night at 10:30. That baby of mine wouldn't let me in, so move it on over. Move it on over. Move it on over. Move it on over. Move over, little dog, cause the big dog's moving in.
Oh, I got it. Stop it. Stop. All right. Yeah. It took me 2 seconds to find this shit. All right. Yo, put on Mind Your Own Business, track 5. All right, so we just listened to Moving On Over, which is like, well, there's the beat, moving on over, and there's the call and response. Now play Mind Your Own Business, which is a great song people should live by. This is fucking Hank Williams.
Mind Your Own Business is awesome,
dude. This is, I mean, come on,
so
dude.
Sick.
This is
It's actually very modern, I think, in a lot of ways, like lyrically.
Oh my God. I mean, dude, dude, can you imagine like the shit, bro? I don't know how to put this. This is like, dude, if he's saying this in fucking Mind Your Own Business, and I'm talking, this is 1949 when this is published, recorded in 49. This is 1950. This motherfucker's like, yo, y'all paparazzi, y'all got to leave me the fuck alone. Can you imagine where it's gone to? Like how bad it must have been. It must have been like 2 cameras back in the day. Like, just like, come on, man. I'm trying to go to this goddamn sock hop. And then it's like, he never
mind your own business.
Mind your own damn business. You're gonna put it on. You're gonna put the interweb back then was just like a fucking like a little like a long sheet of paper, like they stamp, like I don't know.
But it's true.
Good.
Like up until then, there weren't any songs that were that like direct about that kind of subject. You know, I think they were like, you know, ain't nobody's business, you know, people talking, kind of blues stuff. But nobody's like, hey, mind your own business, man. It was like very, very direct. And it's kind of like the precursor even to like, well, the Bob Dylan stuff where he's kind of being, you know, funny and facetious a little bit. And then even like 99 Problems, you know.
Oh yeah. Lindsay Lohan, Rumors.
Can't tell me nothing.
Yeah, dude. He was so, dude, Lindsay Lohan would never have written Rumors if she never heard fucking Hank Williams. Play Mind Your Own Business and hear how close the opening track in Mind Your Own Business. Because this is the thing, even though it's different subject matter, this motherfucker, he wrote the same goddamn song. Play it. Go ahead, play it.
If the wife and I are fussing, brother, that's all right. Cause me and that sweet woman's got a license to fight. Why don't you mind your own business?
It's the same song.
Mind your own business.
Move it on over. Mind your own business. I needed to fulfill this contract.
He's plagiarizing himself.
He don't give a fuck.
He can sue himself.
He's like, nah, but see, it's like when Vanilla Ice was like, nah, dude. See, Queen did doon 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 doon, and I went doon 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 doon. See what I did? It's that slight motherfucker. You got lazy right there, but lyrically, you fucking killed that shit. So big up to you, good old Hanky Wank. All right, where we would go. So he's a teenage radio star. You're discovered in kindergarten, breakout role, witness at age 8. What was that like, dude? At 8 years old, working with Harrison Ford, Han Solo.
It was so great. That was so cool. I mean, at the time, I didn't know who he was, you know, and
really?
I didn't really. Well, yeah, I was 8 years old. I hadn't seen any of his movies.
Interesting.
But I obviously knew he was a big deal. Like I went into his trailer and there was a crowd around his trailer. That's when I first met him. And it was just a director and him in there, and they wanted to talk to me and go through everything. But you could just feel the buzz and like how everybody, you know, sort of revered him. And I just felt kind of like very comfortable around. He was such a nice guy, and it was trippy. It's like a heady experience, but you don't know anything else at the time. I was really, I wanted to be an actor really bad. From a young age, from when I was like 4, same time I sort of started listening to music, I got into acting, and it was this feeling of like it's meant to be, I guess. You know, it just felt like I was supposed to be there, and hey, I'm here, like, let's go. but it was beautiful. It was like magical and yeah, it's hard to describe.
I can imagine, but also you're 8 years old, so it's like, and you don't really realize that you're dealing with Han Solo and Indiana Jones. You just realize you're making a movie, which you've wanted to do. How helpful was with the older actors on set, because I mean, I'm assuming your parents are probably there because of legal shit, but also it's like in a scene and you're playing, I mean, it's a heavy movie. You know what I mean? When you're dealing with the heavier stuff, how was I could imagine like Harrison and must have made it much easier for you to be comfortable in certain scenes.
He was kind of like a fatherly figure, and so was Peter, the director. And they spoke to me in a cool way. A lot of people when you're that age, they talk down. You're like, "Hi, oh, you're so cute," and you kind of feel. At the time, I was pretty self-aware, so I didn't like it when people talked to me like that.
Sure,
but they were really direct and spoke to me kind of like a peer more. And they gave me a lot of confidence. I had a lot of confidence. And actually, it's a funny story because I didn't know who Harrison was at the beginning of the film, but halfway through the movie, there was a screening. That they sent him the movie, Indiana Jones, the second one, to watch. So he had a private screening, just him, and he invited me. So I got to sit next to him and watch the second one, both of us, for the first time. And that's when I was like looking up at the screen going like, oh.
You're like, why didn't I audition for Short Round? God damn it, I could have played Short Round. Come on, man.
I was like, now I know who he is. Now I understood who he was,
bro. And that's Raiders of the Lost Ark rules. Temple of Doom is, you want to talk about a fucking movie that goes right into it. No backstory. No, it gives you. It's the perfect vehicle for the second one where it doesn't have it gets you an interesting. It doesn't dumb you down. It goes right into the fucking movie into it's such a
Those
great
movies are so great.
Such a great dude.
They're so great.
So great. But also to keep going to compare you to Hank, it's like how he never fully fit in Nashville. You never became the you basically have always chosen different characters where it's built you're basically fascinating character actor career instead of choosing fucking. I'm trying to think of the way some actors have gone. Also, you've basically stayed out of trouble. You've also avoided a lot of the pitfalls. Where Hank's worked with the country pioneers of the Grand Ole Opry icons. You've worked with Harrison. You worked with your homies like Leonardo. You worked with Nick Cage. Your Damien, Christopher Nolan. It's really funny because you and Hank both became famous before your brains are before you're fully developed. Do you ever wonder what career choices adult you would have made if child Lucas hadn't already been hired?
Well, my parents are both artists. The reason I loved acting was for to play characters. That was what got me into it in the first place. I never even really made the connection about famous or whatever fame meant. Never meant anything to me.
Yeah.
I just wanted to play characters and play, be creative. So that's how I actually started my career. Even at that age, my decisions, my parents, obviously part of that, they were always about what was going to keep me interested and be something different for me to do. It was never about the money or fame or any of that. So it's really actually just been a continuation of that trajectory, which I'm so thankful for. In fact, I don't think I would still be working if it weren't for that,
Yeah.
Because like you said, a lot of guys, you do some big pop movie or a TV series or something, and then people only think of you for that, and then it kind of fades off. But for me, I sort of established myself in a way where I was just an actor, and that's it. And I play roles and care about it and put everything into it. And the creativity is what matters to me. And I think that kind of shows.
Yeah. Oh, completely. And also, like, it starts at such a young age where, you know, it's just, you've seen it so many times as people make not just bad career choices, but just bad life choices. And so the fact that you kind of, and I think it's because of who you surround yourself. You surrounded yourself around a bunch of guys that were like, yeah, listen, we're going to have fun and we're going to enjoy, being in Los Angeles in our 20s and our 30s. But it's like, dude, we're here to work. We're here to like make, great art. And it's also, you've seen some of the other people. Cause it's like, dude, you've seen people like, fucking River Phoenix, or is probably the worst of it, where it's like, but also the people that didn't pass away, the people that just made bad choices and then just their careers, it's because it's mostly like just being in Hollywood. Like, it's not, because there's people in other professions, not just acting, that make a lot of money and grew up in Hollywood, and they can either go one way or the other. It's like when you live in that city, it's definitely, you
see a lot of it, and you have your moments and you go through things, but I've been lucky. Definitely, I have a great group of friends, and I just never fell into a certain crowd. I feel like I'm just lucky for that, honestly.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't really say the same for Hank, although his was about spina bifida or something like that. He had an issue with his spine.
Wait, is this true? Wait, he had spina bifida? Wait, hold on. Give me a second, dude.
Or something. Maybe
did I miss this? Hold on. Wait,
I might
be
making this up.
No, dude.
Something weird.
This is my, because that's my.
He died in a Cadillac,
dude,
of a drug overdose, basically on New Year's Day.
Good God,
1953 or something.
Talk about So the guy dies at 29. And
29.
And it's like the Beatles, where you think of it, because I know you love the Beatles. The Beatles only have like 6-7 years of being popular, and they made and kept creating and changing, and I think they changed, musically, because of what the world was changing with. You know what I mean? When it started, they're the cheeseball pop of like, I want to hold your hand. And then as like Dylan, it's like you get Rubber Soul and you get, Norwegian Wood with the Indian influence. And then you start, the Beach Boys do this. And it just kind of keeps going and going and going. You can feel it. With Hank, though, like, you keep in mind, like, he's like, when he started becoming popular, which was 47 to 53. And the biggest misconception is that Hank's like competing against other country singers, but he isn't. He's competing against Frank Sinatra. He's competing against Bing Crosby. He's competing against the Broadway musicals that are popular. Like, country was still considered just like a regional thing at the time. And I'm talking, dude, everybody I just mentioned, these are the people that are ruling America. Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Perry Como, Nat King Cole, Tony Bennett. They're singing with full orchestras. Everything's polished. Everything's elegant. Yeah. And then Hank shows up, sounding like a guy who just got dumped outside a gas station. And, and partly, I think that's why it felt so revolutionary. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally. Like, so authentic. It's funny how it's hard to understand now the context, like, of what music was at certain points and how these things developed. But for sure, Hank was a kind of a brand new, weird, interesting thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And all these, he was making these crossovers. Like, he was writing songs that like Tony Bennett covered, he's like a little scrub writing a song, and then Tony Bennett covers it. He's like a massive hit. And then he's sort of bringing country into the mainstream, which just hadn't been done yet. And now like the songs he was writing are kind of the model. A lot of those themes that he was writing about are what all country songs are about now.
Yeah. And what's really funny, Lucas? Because it just was released today. Our episode, we did the Ray Charles Modern Sounds in Country and Western Music, which is that record that Ray did, his best-selling record, if I'm not mistaken. But it was basically where he reimagined Hank Williams songs and different like old country artists, and kind of like injected like rhythm and blues, big band, and like all these soulful arrangements into them. And people were like, cool. What the fuck are you doing? Like like this is going to bomb. And essentially he changed music forever because he showed that it's like, no, this is some of the most beautiful music ever written. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I mean, it's just incredible. It's so funny that we're doing these. I'm recording these two basically back to back. Looking over, it's just, you know, to bring it back to the comparison is like competing against Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, all these guys. You started acting at such a young age and kind of kept going with it as you were growing. Were you expected to imitate some of the other guys that broke the mold, or was it like, are you, you know, like how hard was that to try to keep yourself as an individual when you're starting to see, like, you know, are they pushing you, your agents and, you know, not your parents, but just society? Is it like, oh, well, this is what they want? And you're like,
absolutely. You have, you know, as you grow up, you have all these different moments and you have these kind of different things you have to contend with, and your age, just your age as an actor is, it's sort of a bigger deal because of the outward part of it, like the people looking at you, you know.
Sure.
So I remember when I became a teenager and, you know, had pimples on my face and I was changing and I was awkward, and that was tough to deal with, not just around my friends, but kind of in a bigger way. Like, oh, how do I fit in? How, because your body is, and you know, who you are in that way is part of your instrument as an actor. So as your instrument is changing, you're like, okay, how do I deal with this?
Sure.
How do I fit in now? You know, I'm not the cute little kid in Witness anymore. Now I'm like this gawky, weird, like lanky dude.
Oh, dude, yeah, you see, yeah, and that's the worst part is when you see like that shift where it's like, you know, oh well, we like Haley Joe, we loved you in The Sixth Sense, and it's like now you're like an adult, like what the fuck? It's like you can't not, you know, it's just the normal progression of getting older. I'm curious though, like how close were you though? Were your agents or anybody, did they ever try to push you into a sitcom or one of those roles that, you know, and with you can say that the thing that you might audition for or whatever, but it's like you mentioned that earlier about the people like, oh, it's, and nothing against any of the cast of Friends, but you're just like, okay, you can't not think of Matt LeBlanc without thinking of Joey. And the guy's made $800 million off it and be able to still have a great career, which is amazing. But it's like, were you ever like, you know, I mean, you must have gone out for a lot of that shit growing up too.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I got offers on stuff, but at the same time, because I started off, like I said before, with such a trajectory, like I knew who I was as an actor from the very beginning. So that helped hold me down.
I get it.
That being said, there are moments where you're not getting work, like sometimes long moments.
Sure.
And then you're like, oh, is my career over now? Like, oh, maybe I am one of those child actors that kind of, you know, sort of fades out. Luckily, I've just been blessed to have little bright spots, you know. Oh, Brick is a great one, you know, because up to that point, I don't remember what I was doing, but there wasn't much going on for me at that time.
Wow, yeah.
And then Brick popped up and like, oh, great. It's sort of a little bit of a you know,
I remember when Brick,
dude,
I remember when Brick came out and it was just like the hype, but not just a hype, but it was like it lived up to the hype. Like you would hear about like it doing well at like Sundance and different festivals, and any person that was like into film was like, oh, I got to see this. And also it was like, I think it was of the age where I was like, oh yeah, this is what so many TV shows have tried to do about like, I'm not saying, I mean, I barely watch television, but I never watched Veronica Mars or any like of the, like the mystery, you know, whatever you call it, like fucking, you know what the fuck, like Murder, She Wrote, but with kids or teenagers. Yeah. Some shit like that. The Cosby Mysteries, bringing it back full circle to Bill, but that's to do it as like teenagers, and it was, what was so cool about it, something like Brick, was that it didn't dumb it down. It really still felt adult and kept that footprint in the Maltese Falcon, in the noir of the 40s, you know, and it really did. It was so, it's like, I think like with not just Jordan, but like with you, it's the people that really stuck out from it, and that's fucking pretty rad. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Ryan had a very specific idea of what he was trying to do, and there was no outside pressure. He raised all his own money. He had a creative idea, and that's what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it shows, it shows. And he was like, I remember him playing me all these old noir films, and he's like, listen to how musical they speak. Like there's like a melody in the way that they talk. They're like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
They're kind of, so I really used that and kind of soaked that in. And it actually changed my acting, to be honest with you, because, well, I noticed that just works in general. I think up until that point, well, for a period at least, I had sort of gotten into this vibe of like naturalism. I want to be real. And, that's actually boring.
Sure.
The naturalism thing shows anyway. Like if you have that, if that's part of who you are as an actor, it'll be there. You almost can't go too big, even if you wanted to, because it's not in you. So using that melody and starting to play with that stuff more kind of opened my whole career up in a way.
Dude, that's rad. That's so rad. That's so rad. Especially, it reminds me of and also, like, how old are you when you did that? Like, you're what in your?
I'm 50.
You're 50 now, but how old were you when you did Brick? Like, because Brick was, I forget what year that came.
30 something, or dude, that's 29 like, maybe.
Bro, that's my favorite thing about art, especially the performers, whether it's in music or acting. And that's what we talked about Nick Cage, where it's like he keeps having these moments of like, oh, well, now it's like it's all the way up to leaving Las Vegas, and then he shifts, and now he's doing fucking Con Air, and he's doing all these these action movies and Face Off, and then now he's doing all of these whether you find them weird or not, like they're great and entertaining movies. This like Long Legs and Mandy and blah blah blah, and I say the same thing with what I've learned from doing this podcast is a band like Depeche Mode that was so like new wavy at a certain place, and then they slowly shifted into what became, I don't want to call it like goth rock, but when you get to like Violator, Personal Jesus, it's fucking, it's so cool when you can have that kind of change and find something
shift.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen for everybody. And, part of it is like luck, or it just sort of comes, right? Part of it is obviously what you've built and preparation and all that stuff, but it's also just timing and how things end up working out. And you really don't have control beyond what you care about and what you connect to, and hope that, that it keeps going. And luckily, especially over the last, I don't know, 5, however many years, it feels like my career has been kind of building and building again. Before it was just these little bright spots, but lately it's been kind of gaining a slight momentum. But I'm getting to do what I enjoy.
That's great.
That's in and of itself is just so cool,
bro. You like I said, you've been working since you were 8. You're 50, dude. It's like, that's rad to be able to. Most people don't have that kind of career, and especially to start doing and still continue to do cool work. And not just be working, but working with great, like directors, great, other actors. It's pretty dope, man. And
it is. I'm really lucky.
Yeah, dude. And you're in fucking really Venice, dude. Fuck Hollywood now. You get to chill. Fucking skateboarders everywhere. Beaches right there.
Yeah.
That's where I used to go.
I get on the bike. I go to Minotti's, my favorite little coffee shop, and go sit on the beach in the morning, have my coffee.
Oh God. It's pretty
cool.
Yeah, that's I do miss like living in Los Angeles a little bit for certain moments. Only during the winter here in New York City, because I lived in LA 14 years and now I'm out here, and I love New York City, but yeah, it's just something. I love New York. There's something about LA. Like listening to Hank Williams in New York City doesn't really hit the same as like maybe sitting by the beach and just
or being on the road. You're on the road a lot,
which is true.
There's one of the Hank Williams songs kind of reminded me of Brick in a funny way, because Cold Heart.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Basically, because it was kind of what we were talking about before, where the characters are like, they have these dimensions to them, because like the best characters in films usually have sort of juxtaposing forces in them. Like in Brick, he's like this bad guy. He's got the cane. He's a drug dealer, but he lives at his mom's house and he like drinks milk and is obsessed with Tolkien. And, you know, he's got these sensitivities. So it's just, it makes him so much, it gives him so much more depth. And like in Cold, this delay, in Cold Heart, you know, the woman, it's sort of, you listen to the title and you think, oh, she's this cold woman, but it's not that at all. She's not like mean or bad. She's just been hurt in her life, you know, by other men. And so she has like trouble trusting. And the guy, the narrator, Hank, he's, you know, he gets angry at her and he says mean things, but he loves her with all his heart. He's not like a bad guy either, you know? So they're both like these complicated characters who have this like struggle, both wanting certain things, you know, the way he does it too, the simplicity, there's like an economy to the way he uses his words, but he just relates so much. You relate to those characters. And that's what great movies do, and great characters. Those are the kind of characters I like to play.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Dude, you know, I was trying to figure out, you know, who would be the comparison of like our generations. Like if like, you know, like, cause I started like as I'm doing research on this and asking other people that, you know, that I helped me write the show, it's like how big was Hank Williams? And, you know, like who would be the comparison to people of my generation? And the closest thing, I mean, it's Kurt Cobain, because of such a short career, brutally honest songs. And I mean, brutally honest, struggled with addiction and pain, you know, died young, became much bigger after death. That's the thing, dude, is like between 49 and 53. Like I was like, how big is Hank Williams? Like how big was he when he was alive? Not now, because obviously now he's like this legendary icon, you know, but he had 35 between 49 and his death in 1953. He had 35 top 10 country hits, 11 songs hit #1. He was one of the biggest draws in country music, which we said was very regional still at that time. He was the Grand Ole Opry star. Most of his songs then are starting to be covered by all the other artists and pop artists. And then a lot of crowds would just go specifically to see him. He's the dude that took, you know, whereas like country music itself was still a niche, it's compared to like mainstream pop. Hank, you know, arguably the biggest star in country. And I think as far as like, you know, we're comparing him to Kurt, you know, grunge was I mean, first of all, there's MTV, not just radio. So of course we're going to get,
there's a different,
dude. Yeah. I mean, I'll never forget seeing Nirvana for the first time. And then it went from like, I saw Smells Like Teen Spirit video, and then it was just everywhere. Where I
remember that.
Yeah, dude. And I think that if Hank was just switched into our time period with much more places for him to like be kind of put out, those songs that we're talking about and the way that like we can identify with them, we're like, oh man, this is a lot more just deeper than what I thought it was. And like, damn, this guy's writing about like my life and it feels like it's talking to me. I think, you know, he could have been, if this was now, I mean, he'd been one of the biggest stars like in the world. Country music would have gone from being a niche to being like, oh, it's up there. Like he would have, like the way that grunge suddenly blew up, it would have been the same with him.
By the way, cool comparison. I never would have made that comparison, but you're right. It really is, because Kurt had that tiny. It was so short. I mean, by the way, if you think of Hank Williams' 5 years, I mean that's like from COVID to now. Like COVID feels like yesterday.
Yes,
you know, basically.
No,
I mean, how crazy to have that much material, that much coming out of you, and he was just like kind of just getting started.
Could you imagine being one of the other people that had to follow him like on, because they would do those like musical review things where it's like, you know, it's like you have like 20 artists doing like 2 songs of their popular things. And that's how you're building, right? That's how he's probably building up, where it's like, remember that thing you do where they're like, all right, you guys go up there, do your one fucking song, unplug your guitars, bow, and get the fuck off. Yeah. And it's like, as they got more popular, they got moved to the end early on. I mean, this would be like following, like basically when Hank played Grand Ole Opry, often like performers would talk about how difficult it was to go after him. So comparing it would be like, It would be like following Richard Pryor, like at a comedy club, or Dave Chappelle,
Right.
or following like Eddie Van Halen on guitar, like after playing a thing right after Eddie Van Halen, or like basically
like you got no shot.
Dude, he's the Daniel Day-Lewis of country during that
He
time.
really is.
Yeah, and
He
it's
really
like
is.
you can't deny just like, you know, how special he was. And for you know, listening to this record and hearing like definitely how like that's just the impact of these 40 songs on not just country, but on pop, everything, songwriting. It's gigantic, man.
And it's hard for us to relate to now. You know, I think especially with the internet and how fast everything moves now, you know, it's kind of like a lot of that stuff is getting lost, and those records just sound like old little, you know, janky records. But if you really listen and you really try to understand the context, you dive into this whole world of what was actually happening and how that influenced where we are now. And I think Hank Williams is just one of those, you know, massive moments in music that people aren't all that aware of necessarily, unless you're a big Hank fan or a you know, really into music in that way. I'd say the general public doesn't quite have that understanding.
No, they don't. And you know, there's no Johnny Cash without this homie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
because you've worked with so many different people, and you've been like, we've talked about like how long since you've been fucking 8 years old. Like, have you worked with someone, whether a director or an actor, where everybody on set knew that they were witnessing greatness, like in real time?
Yeah, I think I've had several of those experiences, but I get one in particular. I guess now he's canceled, maybe, but
I was on the Cosby Show. We keep going back to Bill Cosby, dude. I was Malcolm Jamal Warner's friend on an early episode.
But at the time, in the 90s, working with Woody Allen, I did a film called Everyone Says I Love You.
Great movie,
and
man.
It was just it was a cool movie,
dude. I grew up on Annie Hall, man. I grew up on radio, dude. I had Sean Green on, and Seth Green. I'm sorry, and it's like we're talking about. I'm like, dude, Radio Days was one of my favorite movies as a kid, you know. And so it sucks, but it's like, you know, artist. We're not saying what he did is right, but it's just you can still enjoy the work. So like working with Woody. Was it, you're saying working with Woody or
working with Woody? It was just, I mean, wasn't necessarily the idea that it was greatness, but you just felt this vibe of like, you know, because you watch every Woody Allen movie my whole life up until that point. You know, he was like this. I mean, he was just one of the greats, you know. And so then you're there on set on a Woody Allen movie, and it feels like a Woody Allen movie, and you've got, you know, Goldie Hawn and Drew Barrymore and Natalie Portman and Alan Alda and all these. It was like, whoa. And then we're in New York and flying to Paris. We did some of it in Paris. It was just like this really heady experience, and you just felt like, and Ed Norton was in it. Everyone was in the movie.
Yeah, that's like 90s Woody Allen. So it's like he's coming up with some of his best work, or he's, you know, everything he makes is being nominated for best writing, and he's doing his first musical too, which is a big deal. You know. Also, how lucky are you to not just do a Woody Allen movie, but not just shoot it in New York. You actually get to fucking. You get to go to Paris. Yeah. That rules.
No, it was magical. It really was. That, and then Mars Attacks. Again, it wasn't like necessarily you're going, this is greatness, but you're just like, whoa, this is special and cool, and Jack Nicholson and this one and that one, and you're just like, whoa, what the hell is going on? I can't believe I'm even here. Even though I've been doing it my whole life up until then, you're still kind of. I'm still in awe when I go on set.
It's Jack, dude. Do you
know? But like looking at Nick, you know, other whatever, it was a few months ago. I'm looking at Nick. I'm like, wow, I'm doing this scene with Nick. He's so good. You feel this excitement and pride almost for just getting to that. You've gotten to do that. You've done that
Totally. Do you have any fun Jack stories? Everybody feels like everybody has one Jack story. It's like in comedy, everybody has an Andy Dick story. Usually it's not good. Usually the Andy Dick story.
It's not a personal story, but a friend of mine, they were at an art gallery and he wanted to go up and talk to Jack. And he's like, "Hey, Jack, I know you." And Jack just went and turned his head. He wanted nothing to do with my friend. He just didn't want to hear it. And it's not my own story. I would only see Jack. I ran into him. I shook his hand. We didn't actually have much interaction,
but you work with being able to work with Tim Burton, man. That's pretty rad. Especially, Mars Attacks. I think I took mushrooms and went to go see that when the theater when that came out. I should
do that,
dude. That'll trip you out, bro. I've had to be careful of what I take mushrooms and do in public anymore. I used to go to concerts constantly. Like Bill Burr is on his new special has a joke about me and him taking mushrooms and going to see Billy Joel at SoFi Stadium, which I had done a million times seeing Billy Joel, but it was his first experience taking mushrooms to seeing Billy. And I didn't tell him. I told him at the last minute as soon as we took the mushrooms that I cry as soon as he does Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. And then we took the mushrooms and he forgot. And then I suddenly am weeping. It's great. And it's so funny too, Lucas, because he was like, dude, I started doing that joke on stage, telling the story. He goes, "Don't worry, I didn't say your name." I'm like, "Motherfucker, say my name. Say my name. Give my social. I don't give a fuck, dude."
By the way, Bill Burr, one of the best shows I've ever seen. I saw him in the Valley a couple years ago, and I was on the floor. I was on the fucking floor the whole time.
Bro, I got you.
I couldn't believe it.
I got you, bro. I got you. He's one of my best friends. I do a show. I fly out once a month to do a show in Los Angeles at the Comedy Store, and he's usually on it because it's the only time we get to hang. But it's always it's me, Bill, Bobby Lee, dude. I got you, bro. I got barbecue in the back.
Hit me up. I would love.
I got you.
I'd love to come.
Let's get here. Let's start wrapping this up. I wanted to. We didn't want to go through every song. I just remember the ones, and I don't want to do I always ask, "What's your favorite song?" at the end. But it's there's certain songs that were on this that really stuck out. I know Ramblin' Man was your first song you ever heard. Mine, the first song I ever heard by Hank Williams was Jambalaya. And I remember at that time, because I was a bar mitzvah DJ, and I think it was put on the CD by the owners of the bar mitzvah company, the DJ company that I worked for. And I was like, "What the fuck is this bullshit?" And I loved it. And I'm telling you, dude, it's what's so funny about country music. If you don't grow up in the South, part of my language, you're this is fucking lame, man. Ew, country. Dude, I'm wearing a fucking Alan Jackson shirt now because I was oh man, what's the closest vintage shirt I have to Hank Williams? And my ex-girlfriend, who's from South Carolina, back when we dated in 2014, 2015, she was the one that turned me on to Hank. And it was I hadn't started turning into a country fan until I started doing this pod. And it's I feel anybody that shits on country needs to go back and listen to the old shit. Do you know what I mean? It's just, 100%. It's so fun. Dude, it's something 100%. Like Jambalaya which is probably the most joyful song in all of his catalog. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's compared to everything else. Yeah, it's compared to everything. Good. Compared to look, Setting the Woods on Fire is fucking, Reckless. You Win Again is a masterclass in heartbreak songwriting. Every song is look, I'll never get out of this world alive. And then you have Making a Beef Stew. Come on, everybody, making it for me and you. Put some crawdaddies in there. And then the next song's I murdered a man in Texas. And everybody read his exes. And
a lot of the stuff that he was doing actually became American culture. He Lost Highway. Lost Highway is one of those, that title, it's been I think it was a record company, even it was a movie, Lost Highway. And then I think he talks about Rolling Stone in the beginning of which was kind of one of the first popular cultural references to Rolling Stone, which then went on to obviously Dylan and the Stones and everything else. So he was kind of there at the forefront. All this material he was giving. The Lost High was a great one. That's a hell of a song.
It's just, as this keeps going, it's like I'm just keep looking. There's so many songs to choose from, and it's like Call Liga, which is one of the weirdest. I was reading it. It went to #1 in the country songs, and it's about a wooden cigar store Indian falling in love. It's like it's just
it's so good.
It's just there's a lot of dark humor in this guy's music. But this is also, don't forget, bro, this is like, I was like, what was going on in the world when this motherfucker was like doing shit? And dude, this is like, let me see if I can find it. Because I have so much information. This is right. Rock and roll, don't forget, is just beginning. So there's that. World War II obviously is over at this point, but God, there's more. Where's the fucking bullshit I have? I have so much stuff, and then it's like you get so confused of like, hold on, the birth of teenage called the beginning of the Cold War. Booyah! Here I found everything. So during his whole career, this guy's America's just survived World War II. All these people got PTSD, divorce rates, alcoholism, blah 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 blah. It's and Hank Williams is singing like, "I'm so lonesome I could cry." When everybody's supposed to be celebrating, he's the one, and music is being this more like upbeat stuff. He's the motherfucker that's really bringing the truth, to what's going on, which is, that the world is starting to get into a dark place. This is where you're starting to get that film noir shit,
Totally. I think that's how, that's how he was really relating to people, related to what he was talking about. Because of course, the world could be going great, right? The economy might be good, whatever. But at home, you just lost your girlfriend, or you're just, everybody's got loneliness, right? Even if you're happy in some ways, there's always those kind of things that are not perfect. And I think he really just hit the nail on the head with those things in a way that no one was doing at that time.
No.
And there are a lot of there's so many cool songs where it's like kind of introspective, and like those juxtapositions, like I said, that song Wedding Bells.
Yeah.
You remember that one?
Oh yeah.
It's like he's talking about like the bells are ringing and the children are laughing, but meanwhile it's the woman who's getting married is like his ex, who he thought he was going to marry. So it's like that juxtaposition of the pain and the sorrow, and he's going through this like heartbreak, and the wedding bells are ringing and the birds are chirping, and it's just like, it's so sad. It cuts right into you, and you can just relate to it so easily.
Yeah, he's changed country forever as soon as he's gone, or as soon as he drops. Like, this is before Hank. You've got it says country singers often sounded formal and old-fashioned, and then after Hank, every artist was expected to write personal songs. Everything needs it's just be authentic, be vulnerable. It's basically like, it's the same way it would be like the way Marlon Brando changed acting. You know what I mean? The way
100%.
Daniel Day, the way that Robert De Niro. It's just that's what we're trying to stress, Fleece Army listeners out there that are like that. The importance of why this guy. It's like life was art. Country art was this way, and then it changed into this way. I also think a big deal with him is being able to be there at the golden age of radio too. It's like, because radio's king, just like the way that you're starting up. It's like it's in the golden age of where movies are the thing. It's on even television too, man. Is like, don't forget, people, there was only 3 channels that made a shit of a difference back in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
And I'm not in the 90s. I'd say in the 70s and the 80s, the way that people used to gather around and listen to Hank on the radio. It's like, oh, the Grand Ole Opry. It's just like, oh, the new movie's coming out, we're going to see this. Do you think it's easier or harder for the performers today, when there's millions of platforms instead of just one giant one? I mean, because you're kind of I'm not gonna say lucky, but it's like to be able to like when Witness came out and when some of the movies that you were in came out, it's like that was fucking it. You literally have 3 movies that are premiering or 2 movies this month that are or this weekend that are the tentpole versus like now it's like you have so many different, right?
Definitely. Yeah. In fact, it's interesting as you go through, these time periods. When you're in it, you're like, oh, this will last forever, or this is just what it is. You can't even relate to the idea that it might really change as much as it does. But like all of these artists, Hank Williams, the Beatles, whoever it was in their moment, like that moment is a huge part of the success, and they kind of are part of it. They're like fused with that moment, and they wouldn't happen without having been there in that time, because now, everything has changed. Now you can't, like TV, when I was in the 80s, like doing a TV show was cheesy, kind of like,
sure,
like I was like real, I took myself very seriously. I thought I was like,
you worked with dude, Witness is a fucking movie to drop, dude. That's like to come out like working with Peter, like that's like one of the most respected directors in Hollywood, one of the coolest actors. Like you definitely, I'm not gonna be like, yo, your shit don't stink. Be like, come on, dude.
No.
You want me to do fucking something on Fox? Go fuck yourself, dude.
Well, yeah, it was a little like that at the time. TV was just not as well respected as film.
Sure.
And now, that's completely different. In fact, people watch more TV than movies. I mean, they watch more Instagram and TikTok than movies at this moment. In fact, this was Nick's first ever TV show.
Really?
Yeah, this was his first time he's ever done TV. So, yeah, the times just keep changing, and streaming and technology changes, and you don't really understand it until you're sort of past where it was, and you look back and you go, oh wow, it used to be like that. Look at where we are now. And you kind of just gotta take it and move forward with it and embrace it. And yeah, I feel lucky to have gotten to be in that period, but I also feel lucky that I'm getting to be in this period, and see what happens and where it goes.
I started stand-up comedy in 2008 and was very, very lucky, and went through the old, I don't want to call them the old gatekeepers, like I'm jealous of some of the new kids now being able to just, because as a comic, or even not even a comic, like if you're a filmmaker, whatever the fuck it is, like the way we're talking about some of these movies like Obsession and Backrooms, these people started on YouTube. You can create everything, at a young age in your own house. Like you can have the capabilities to make things. And I remember being a kid in Maryland that was interested in film or interested, making music. Like, dude, if me and my band when I was in high school could have had Logic or some of the fucking things, it's like, dude, back when I was cute before hard drugs ravaged my body, when I was like, dude, it's like the opportunities that you have now is so incredible. That's why it's like to break big now, it might seem easier, but you have so much more competition,
way more competition.
Yeah.
But it's true. You like same. If there was Instagram or whatever back then, when I was cute and all that. Yeah. I mean, I was playing music. I was playing guitar to every person I met, everywhere I went. That was all I did for years. So, and none of that is documented. And, no one ever saw it. That was just something I did. But if it was now, I'd probably be all over the place on, I don't know if I'd be big or whatever, but I'd be playing a lot of music and it'd be all over the place,
Well, let me tell you something, bro. You fucking killed it in Ramblin', man. Like you really did a great job in that cover, brother. Like I didn't realize how fucking talented. I knew you were talented, and I knew that's the thing. Is like I knew when we got sent the track, I was like, oh, this is going to sound good if they wouldn't fucking put it out. Dude, it sounds great. It honors him, and it's fucking rad, man. And it's
Thanks
perfect.
so much.
Of course,
Thank you
of course.
so much.
And dude, before we do the final questions, thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on. Please, we got another 105 episodes. I bet you we got Beatles. We've got a shitload of Beatles episodes coming up. So I'd love to have you back.
I love music. I love all kinds of music. Beatles is my stuff. I would love to talk about them. Motown, Bob Marley, everything.
Have you ever been to the Motown the house in Detroit?
I haven't.
Bro.
Is it cool?
It's so badass. I love that. I'm on the road so much that, and I rent a car because I bring my dog. I have a service animal. She is well trained. I'm telling you, I fly with her everywhere. She's better trained than most humans. But I brought her to Motown, and it's so cool when you really go in and you see how small that house was, where it started, and then to see, and then you go into like the studio where most of their music was recorded, and you look into the sound booth. And the floor is like broken because of all the stomping and hand clap, like that the producers would kind of like, just like they'd be so into the music. Man. It's rad, man. And then, going to Minnesota and going to like Paisley Park or Prince's house. And it's great. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, I know, cool. Well, it's like you're traveling. Usually if you're traveling to go to a movie, it's like you guys are kind of confined. It's like, dude, rent a car, get the fuck out, go see the cities and see those lame, dude. When I go to London, bro, I'll go on that rock tour that's cheesy. That's like, anybody in this group could be the next rock and roll superstar. I'm looking at you, Grandpa. And the guy's like, man, this is where
I did that. I did that on a city bike or whatever they have there. I just get on the bike, and just look up locations of. I went by Abbey Road.
Sure.
I went to Jimi Hendrix's house, like all the different spots.
But do the cheesy thing. Do the cheesy group, dude. It's so fun. It's like, this is where John Lennon had diarrhea after having a shawarma wrap. It's like they take you to like the weirdest place. You're like, really? Diarrhea? That's awesome. No, dude, I'm telling you, it's like, I'd love to have you back. This was so much fun. Everybody, if you haven't watched, fucking
Spider Noir,
dude, if you haven't watched Spider Noir, get into it. It's incredible. I'm telling you, man, it's probably one of the coolest things that Marvel, DC, or anybody's done in a long time. And how cool that is for you to be a part of it and such a rad character. Let's do the final questions. Let's get you the fuck out. Favorite song. Now I'd say on this album, but basically favorite song in Hank Williams' entire career. What would it be?
Yeah, it is hard to have a favorite one. But
gotta pick one.
Somehow that I don't know if he wrote it though. The Mansion on the Hill. The Wedding Bells one.
Yeah.
The Wedding Bells one. Well, I had a breakup recently, and so that one in particular just kind of gets to you. Almost made me cry. It's got like that juxtaposition, and the music's kind of light. It's kind of like just bouncing along, but the way he emotes and what he's talking about, it's just heartbreaking. And the fact that a song like that could have such a big impact, such a light kind of old little song, and it's short, but it just cuts straight in.
Damn, I didn't realize you were going through a breakup and listening to this record, dude. We should have given you something a lot more positive. This is like, God damn, this is hitting the nail on the fucking head. Is there anything you skip over on this? I don't think even this record coming in at, however long, let me see how long this record actually was. Let me see. Hank Williams. It's got to be, what's so funny about these like older records, 40 greatest hits. Hold on. When you talk about a record like this, let me just go to the fucking iPhone. What am I doing?
Part of what's interesting too is these songs are short.
Very short. That's what I was getting to. Yeah,
they're like a million songs that are like probably less than 2 minutes.
Comes in wild. 40 songs comes in at an hour and 46 minutes. It just keeps getting better and better as it keeps going. I'm telling you, dude. it's such an easy listen. Was there anything that you skip over, or anything?
Not for me personally. It's all kind of in the same vein musically and chordally. It's not like he was doing really crazy stuff in that way. It was really about his lyrics and about his delivery and these new ideas that were new at the time, and the way they were new to pop music. He was talking about stuff that people weren't talking about and doing it in a way that was more relatable than what other people were. So I think the whole record is like that.
Yeah. I didn't skip over anything. I just literally let this thing play.
Me neither.
Can you fuck to this record? Or have you? Can you fuck to Hank Williams? People did, for sure.
They did. I think he could fuck to almost anything.
Not anything, dude. Not anything. Because look, and if you're just going by vibe, like vibe of the music, if you put this on and you started with the first song, you starting with Moving On Over. Oh, Jesus. I mean, this isn't. I don't know. This is the most.
I don't think it's not a fucking record.
No,
it's not a fucking record. It's not. It's not the one you put on.
Mind your own business. You're like you look at the girl like, mind your own business. Don't tell anybody about this. I believe people did fuck to this. I don't think this is a record that I would fuck to. But if you're a country fan, who knows? Is this the most fuckable music for country music fans? I don't know. We have to ask. If you're a country fan and you listen to this podcast, send us. I know you guys are out there because you guys message me all the time how excited you were about this record coming up. Send us if you have fucked to Hank Williams. What if they're like, I've only fucked to Hank Williams Jr. I fucked to the Monday Night Football song. Like, Monday night is a scooter do. What would be your how do you sum this record up to people that have never heard it? Like, or how do you get somebody to listen to this record?
I mean, I guess just sort of a summation of everything that we've been talking about, what a important figure he was, and the personal part of it. That's the thing that just really, really relates to me. Is I would tell people how personal it is and how much it might affect you more than you would ever expect.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we're dealing with 40 songs during 6 years of recording, and enough influence to how do I put this? Enough influence to accidentally create half of American music. I think that there is a guy that lived country songs. He died like a country song, which I feel bad that we didn't even bring that up. God damn it. Like, we mentioned it, but yeah, listen.
Oh yeah, there's that last song, right? Yeah. His last song before he died. What was what was it called?
I Saw the Light.
Gosh, I'm sorry.
Was it I Saw the Light?
The last song that he released. Wait, let me look it up real quick. Sorry. Oh, the last single that was released before he died was "I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive."
Yes, thank you.
I was thinking about that, and it actually sort of reminds me of it's a weird connection, but Basquiat.
Sure.
Do you know his last picture, his last painting?
No,
called Riding with Death.
Wow.
And it's like this, it's this figure riding on a skeleton, and it's very stark. It's very sad.
Yeah.
And you could see him talking about kind of knowing that he's dying or that he's going to die. And Hank Williams kind of did the same thing, but in this way, he's kind of does it with a wink, which is in Hank Williams style, which I kind of like more.
Yeah.
Hank Williams a little funny. It's a little like, yeah, I guess this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I ain't getting out of here alive.
No, this is, I feel like, I mean, if I'm not wrong, it's just as an accidental overdose. Yeah. It's like, that's so funny. I researched everything but his death. Good God, Josh. It says he's doing these shows with that day. Williams cannot fly because of a snowstorm in Montgomery. He hired a college student to drive him, blah, 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 blah. It's just
like morphine and
yeah. He wanted injected Williams
and
2 shots of B12 that also contained a 1/4 grain of morphine, but the porters had to carry Williams to the car. Yeah, so it fucked him up, and then he's coughing, sound twice, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna. Let's not end it with his death. Let's end it. If you want the full story, come back in 2 weeks when I actually learn exactly how he died. Because right now, I just think his music is fucking rad enough to end it on that.
It's so
and
good.
I think when I'm talking about, you know, someone like, you know, like him, and you know, how you get somebody to listen to this is just like, you're talking about somebody that did the impossible, which is in such a short period of time changed the face of a genre of music, and it's just something that is almost damn near unbelievable. And it is rad, man.
If there was one song that I would tell someone
to listen to.
Yeah, if there's one song I would tell people to listen to kind of that encapsulates it.
Yeah.
Lost Highway.
Oh, totally.
Because it's got the Hank Williams thing, and it's the Rolling Stone, and you see that American culture being kind of sparked with him at that moment.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of things, like a lot of that stuff that's become just part of American culture was there in that song.
I love that I did the Ray Charles country album right before recording. I don't know if they're released the same, but because that was released today, and I think this one comes out in 2 weeks after that. I think I have James Taylor in between it, but even that was like, there's no James fucking Taylor without fucking Hank Williams. I'm telling you, it's the way
those guys, Bob Dylan, you know, Johnny Cash, all those guys.
Totally.
It started with him.
Cue jambalaya. Let's get Nicolas Cage to ride a horse through a black and white swamp, and let's get the fuck out of here, dude. This ruled, dude. Thank you for coming on, brother. Everybody watch Spider Noir, and we'll be playing your song at the end of this. It's incredible. Please come back, buddy. This was so much fun.
Sweet. I'd love to. Thank you, man. That was awesome.